It's the old story. Robot fights robot. Robot beats robot. Robot goes through to final. Robot faces better robot. Robot defeats better robot. Robot wins final. Robot comes back next series. Robot fights same robot in same heat. One of them wins, the other loses. Other robot may or may not get selected for the wild card. They do. How many times have we heard that story before? Once. It's episode 5 of series 9. Wow, this has taken so long. Supporting, fine, there he is. So, Apollo, let's start with Apollo, seeing as I'm wearing all the right clothes. Apollo, obviously, is the robot of that age-old story. They came back with a very similar robot, and perhaps that was their downfall. They did alright. Obviously, Carbide rather laid into them a bit too much, in my opinion, and I don't agree that Carbide should so much. They know their power, they know what they can do, and in a round-robin situation, that's not the right thing to do. So, I disagree with that on their part. But we're not talking about Carbide, we're talking about Apollo. So, Apollo did okay. They beat Coyote. I think they beat Crackers and Smash, I can't quite remember. But obviously Carbide, where it all fell apart, and, you know, it was obvious that Carbide had done their work. Pretty gone. Next up is Crackers and Smash, a clusterbot. I think it's the first clusterbot we've seen in New Robot Wars, proper clusterbot that is, not, oh, these go with nuts. They're clusterbot. They're mini-bots. Get your wording right. So Crackers and Smash. One's a sort of flipper, but maybe not. The other is a drum spinner, but again, possibly, maybe not. I wasn't overly impressed with Crackers and Smash. They didn't do that well. They got through their first fights, but apart from that, a bit of a weak performance on their part. So Crackers and Smash, don't know. Apparently they're back for the new series. Hopefully they have made adjustments to their robots as they need to, for them to be more offensive, better. Other words that mean the same, basically. Coyote. Coyote is beautiful, isn't it? It's if a kid were told to draw a Robot Wars robot, Coyote is what they would draw. Not Apollo, not Behemoth. Wow, first appearance of Behemoth in a video. Wow. Nothing like that. They're gonna draw something like Coyote, which is gonna have these outlandish parts, a chainsaw at the back. And that's exactly what Coyote brought to the party. They did okay. They survived more than anything, apart from when they met Carbide. So I'm impressed that they're coming back for Series 10. Spoiler alert if you didn't know that already. But, yeah, it was... Let's face it, this episode was purely between Apollo and Carbide. Best fight, worst fight for Apollo. Best fight... I think their best fight was probably the opening melee, because they got to show off a bit. Worst fight, Carbide in the final of that episode. Yeah, I'm going with that. Let's do that. Crackers and Smash, best fight, getting through that opening melee, especially against Carbide. Worst fight, I mean, they went into a fight without working weaponry and still managed to lose, so they gave up at that one. So I'm going to say that's their worst fight. Just purely because, in my opinion, that was the worst fight to watch. Coyote, best fight, again, getting through the opening melee. It was one of those episodes. Worst fight against Carbide. And let's talk about Carbide. Really done up their robot since the last series. Worked out the flaws. Sorted it, basically. They had very little to no real threat. I suppose Apollo was their real threat, but even then they didn't really do that much to hinder them. So they cleaned the floor with their robot, wiped the floor, and caused carnage. Sure. As I've said previously to people, I completely disagree that they lay into them really in a round-robin situation. Obviously now we're into knockout staging as opposed to round-robin. There's more of a want for destruction. Not so much in round-robin, but that's another reason round-robin had to go. So, yeah. Carbide win the episode. But wait a minute. There were 4 other robots, weren't there? Now, what were their names again? First up, we've got Mega Mouse live tour. Not seen it since. I think it might be a bit dead after Carbided it. A pity for them, I suppose. I've not been a fan of Mega Mouse anyway. And Charles the Cheese Wedge, never mind. Let's talk about the most popular robot, Trolley Rage. Now, Trolley Rage is such a strange Axbot. It was made to look like a trolley. Either that or it was made of parts of a trolley. It wasn't made solely out of a trolley, that's for certain. And it didn't do that well anyway, so let's move on to Rusty. Rusty is a robot. I suppose I have to class it as that. The flipper was zip-tied on. And then it wasn't anymore. Because it came off. And that's where that robot lost. Lastly, Miss Nightshade. What is Miss Nightshade? I notice it's not back for Series 10. Spoilers. But yeah, Miss Nightshade has smack. It's that. Killer Christmas Tree comes to mind. Looks kind of cool. Is hilarious to watch. It just smack everything until it doesn't work and move. But apparently they were having problems right from the start. So a pity for them and a pity they're not back this series. But hey, never mind. At least they brought in an original robot. Finally. And that was the heat that was. Apollo versus Carbide plus other robots. There's not much more I can say about this heat. It's definitely one of my least favourite of the series, unfortunately. I didn't like Carbide and Apollo being in the same melee. I thought that was silly. And I'm sort of upset they've put a load of finalists in the same heat again for Series 10. So, you know, what can you do? I suppose they're trying to limit the amount of competitors that make it through to the final consecutively. But obviously, back in the day, something like Firestorm got through to a lot of finals. Bigger Brother got through to a few finals. Razor used to get through. Tornado in the later years. Chaos 2 obviously won twice in a row. And maybe that's what they're trying to avoid. And I can see where it's coming from with a producer's point of view. Of having a bit more of a mixed bag and assuring a fight between the two, like, grand finalists, but I didn't like it. So there, that brings us to the end of episode 5. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and my apologies that it's taken months to release, to even film. But there you are. Carbide go through to the final, and what a final it's shaping up to be, or shaped up to be. Obviously, we all know what the outcome was. So we've got Aftershock from Heat A. Heat B was Eruption. Heat C, Concussion. Heat D, we have Ironside. And Heat E, Carbide, Spinner. So who will get the wild card? It's them. I don't know why I'm adding a level of jeopardy to this. Apollo get the wild card. And more on that next time. For now,
cease.